Welcome to the Movies of Chemistry show. Have you ever heard that movie called Lucy where her brain goes over the human capacity, what humans usually use? Yeah, that's right. Her brain capacity went from 10 to 100 real fast. The professor in the movie is teaching a class about his theory about the capacity of a human's brain. So first off, he says that 1% of a human's brain there's no intelligence, but it acts as a reflex. One neuron means that the brain's alive, and 2 neurons means that you're moving. Then he goes on talking about humans' normal capacity is 10%. So humans use 10% of their brain, even though it don't seem like a lot. The 10% of their brain has created a lot in this world. Like, just think of scientists. They're using 10% of their brains, but they're creating more and more chemicals. They have people building stuff, like Walt Disney. Using 10% of his brain, he has that imagination building Disney World. Then the professor goes on talking about humans using 20% of their brain. So he starts off saying that dolphins normally use 20% of their brain, which develop their echolocation. But whenever humans use 20% of their brain, they start to control oneself. Then he goes on talking about 40% of the human brain. So whenever humans hit the capacity of 40%, they control others. And then it goes on to controlling matter. Then after that he stops, because then he doesn't know what's further, what goes on next, doesn't know what the next capacity acts like or anything until Lucy comes along. So the reason Lucy's brain goes from 10 to 100 is because she was used as a drug mule. She had drugs packed into her, which is called CPH4, which is a purple-blue crystallite powder. In real life, the CPH4 is in pregnant people. Whenever their baby is trying to grow, that CPH4 helps. It's kind of like an atomic bomb, they call it. But the CPH4 in the movie is a drug that's going to Europe to help kids, or they say to help kids. But actually, someone kicks her stomach so much that the packet busts and all the CPH4 goes into her system. So that's when it starts, the brain capacity. Lucy's brain is now increasing. The CPH4 is in her bloodstream. Now she's on the walls, upside down. She's floating up to the ceiling, just shaking like she's in an exorcism. And then she gets shot with a bullet. She takes out the bullet like, oh, this is nothing. Like, she's just numb everywhere. She don't feel it at all. She gets the doctors to take the package out of her stomach, don't feel it. She feels other people, she feels vibrations, she feels the gravity, she feels space, she feels the air. And it is at 20% already. She also can read x-rays, she can write in Chinese, she can read Chinese, she can translate Chinese to English. And this is all at 20%. And then she can also feel, whenever she hugs her best friend, she feels her best friend's energy. So she feels how healthy she is or isn't. And it's all at like 20%, but then she moves on to like 28%, and then she's controlling technology. She gets in touch with the professor by popping up on his TV. She calls the phone while holding a phone. All the technology she's just controlling with her mind. Then it just keeps increasing from there. She changes her hair without touching it or anything. She's using the color from blonde to black so no one recognizes her. Then she goes to 40%, and she's kind of in an illusion. She thinks she's fading away. She looks like she's turning into dust. And then she's throwing people against the seats in the airplane, or throwing people across the airplane just by the move of her hand, not even trying to do it. And then she goes to basically 50%, where she's trying to talk to an officer, and all the people around her have guns pointing at her, and then she puts them all to sleep. They all just drop to the floor. Then she goes on to seeing phone conversations, right? Seeing. Not just listening, of course she can hear it, but she's just seeing. Like, it's like the phone lines in the air, and she's just sliding through them, picking which one she's actually listening to. Then she actually clicks it just in the car, and then she plays it on the radio. Then as she's driving crazy on the street, she's controlling the posts that you don't even know that go up and down. They went into the ground, and then she controlled them to go up as she passed so the cops can run into them. And then whenever she gets to the hospital, there's men pointing at her again with guns, and they try to fight her. Well, she shoots the guns up to the ceiling, all with her head, and then she controls the men's arms, like she's stopping their arms from hitting her, and then she just throws them up to the ceiling, and they just all float up. So she's controlling everyone at this moment. She's controlling guns, she's taking bullets out and everything. So at the end, she is at 70%. She's meeting up with the professors. She is now vomiting energy and sunlight. And then at 80%, she takes her and the professors and his colleagues to just a blank white room, kind of like Harry Potter at the last movie. They was all in that blank white room. Just blank white room. And then at 90%, she time travels. Like, she time travels all the way to like the dinosaur ages where no one was even born yet. Then at 100%, she just vanishes. She vanishes all technology, and then she just pops up saying, "I am everywhere." So now that's the chemistry in the movie Lucy. So now you know how our brains work if they go past 10% of our capacity.